Rochelle, this is really the place to be if you follow finance and economics. Central bank representatives from over 40 countries are here over the next few days, and there are also countless economists and academics discussing some of the most pressing issues facing the global economy. Now, things really get kicked off tomorrow morning when Janet Yellen, the chairwoman of the U.S. Federal Reserve, gives the opening remarks. But the speech to watch is that of Mario Draghi, the president of the European Central Bank, who's expected to give his speech at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. The economy is improving in Europe, as is the employment picture. So the big question is whether the ECB is going to pull back on its bond buying program, which currently stands at 60 billion euro per month. If there's any hint of that happening, the expectation is that the euro will appreciate in value. Now, many things being discussed over the next few days, including income inequality, which has increased in many parts of the world since the global financial crisis. And it's interesting that that conversation is happening here in Wyoming, the state whose nickname is the Equality State, given to them after it became the first state in the nation to give women the vote in 1869. But more recently, the state is being more associated with inequality, as it is home to America's city with the greatest income disparity.
This is what America's city with the largest income gap looks like. With views of the Teton Mountain Range, metropolitan Jackson, known as Jackson Hole, is a beacon for the rich and famous. Harrison Ford has a home here. So does former U.S. Vice President Dick Cheney. Billionaires live in the area, including Walmart heiress Christy Walton. They come here to ski, and that skews the local economy. In 2013, the average annual income of Jackson Hole's top 1% was nearly $20 million. The bottom 99% averaged $94,000, more than 200 times less. That is still a lot, but even those making close to $100,000 a year have a hard time finding housing in Jackson Hole. Service workers who rely on the minimum wage, among the lowest of any state in the nation, have an even tougher time.
The problem is quite acute.
April Norton manages the region's affordable housing division. She says demand far outpaces supply. 97% of the surrounding land is federally owned national parks and forests, leaving little room for development.
So recently we had a lottery for an employment-based unit here in the town of Jackson. We had 94 households apply for one unit.
The unlucky often have to resort to extreme measures to stay here. You'll see families with young children living in trailers like the ones behind me. Others camp in the nearby parklands, and you'll see people living out of their cars.
In winter, motels rent rooms to lower-income residents by the week or month. Others have moved to the neighboring state of Idaho, commuting to Jackson over treacherous mountain passes. The mayor says the town's character is at stake if the working class continue to be pushed away.
We'll see a loss of the sense of community here in Jackson. I think that's really important to most of us who have moved here and who live here full time, to keep that intact, and that's what we're losing.
Christine Walker runs a real estate development consulting firm specializing in affordable housing.
It's sad to be in a community that has so much wealth and then has so much poverty as well. And some way to reconcile those differences is something I hope that my community can decide to address.
One blogger calls the area God's country, renter's hell. Jackson Hole's spectacular beauty makes it a playground for the uber wealthy, but a tough place to live for everyone else.
Rochelle, the uber wealthy, of course, are attracted to this area because, just look at these views, but also because there's no state income tax in Wyoming. So long as that continues to be the case, the income gap is expected to widen.